Howdy, folks. It's not Jay, and tonight's episode was recorded prior to this evening, about 2 Saturdays ago, with John Harrington from the UK and McMurray. We had a lot of fun with it. Sorry I'm not here, but I'm enjoying my time with the family down in the House of Mouse down in Disney World. So strap in, have some fun. This is set as a premiere, so y'all should be able to chat like normal, as well as if any of the guys jump in, they'll be able to chat with you. So hope you enjoy the show, and we'll see how this goes. Howdy, folks. It's Not Jay from Not Jay. Jesus Christ, you know where the fuck I am. Let's start this over.
Yeah, they found the channel.
Yeah. Howdy, folks. This is Not Jay, and tonight we've got McMurray on the show with us, and John, our foreign correspondent from the big UK. He's come to join us. We're actually recording this 2 Sundays before you're actually watching it. So, hello from the past, as it were, to our future selves. And the reason for that is I am currently, when you're watching this, enjoying myself in Disney World. So I felt I wanted to make sure that you guys still had something to watch. If y'all watch it, great. If you don't, whatever. But it also gave me a chance to get John on here, because going on at 8:30 at night, our time, puts it at about 2:30 in the morning his time, and he's either asleep or several glasses of whiskey in. So
yeah, he's on
either way,
is like third or fourth lady of the night by then.
Yeah. So
I love the assumption that I'm not 3 or 4 glasses in now, but okay.
Well,
it's Sunday. You're supposed to do that.
But that's okay. So we're gonna go ahead and dive in and find out what we've been working on. As y'all know, I've been plugging along with my Tantive 4 project. I've got 2 almost complete modules now. I've got another one primed, ready to go. It's taken me about 1 night for each of those modules. It doesn't take a long time to get them done, to be honest. I mean, you spray them white, you paint the black parts black, you put in some red highlights to look like lights or something, you're done. So I should have that well on its way. I'm wanting this to be ready for March to Victory, the Kansas City game convention that we'll talk about more here in a little bit. In March, obviously March to Victory. So I've got a couple months, but those months go by really, really fast. So I've got a lot of work to do. I've got to finish up 5 more guys. I got 5 more guys that are at this level that I need to get to this level. And then I've got 5 more guys that, still have to be purchased, to be perfectly honest. And then I've got to get another 3 boxes of Stormtroopers. So that's where I am with my project. And I've got a couple other projects that I'm getting close to pulling the trigger on, but we can talk about that on another show at a different time. McMurray, what do you got going?
Well, what does it look like I got going right now?
Well, let's take a look. Hold on, let me pull you up to.
I finally primed these guys.
They look like
base texturing on them.
Look like tiny little walkers.
Oh, really? On a white? Yeah. What? I mean, I'm not an expert on this setting, Mr. Not Jay. Can you inform the kind viewers as to what these might be used for?
There's a lot of things, but are you going to keep the bases white?
Yes.
So that would mean either a salt-covered planet with red soil underneath, which is exactly garbage, or it's what it should be, and that would be snow
That
like
it is.
the ice planet Hoth.
The ice planet Hoth is
So that would
correct.
be those would be some Imperial walkers that you're doing in what 6 mm?
6. Yeah. So these are the not George Lucas-esque figures from Irregular. These are the sci-fi walkers and sci-fi snowmen, and we've got some other stuff for the other side as well. But these have been sitting around for a while. There's 6 of these little walkers, and then I've got 6 bases of snowy roby looking infantry to go along with them, and then a few bases, several more. I think there's 12 bases of opposition infantry and a couple stationary gun emplacements that need to go sit in trenches or somewhere to protect either, shield generators or a base or something like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, they were sitting around.
Would that be a
What's up?
base?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the base with odd reverberations. And so they've been sitting around here at the house for long enough because it's one of Irregular offers them in a pack. They do a lot of little battle packs that are pretty cool. It's not very much, it's, $20 or something, and then they send you 2 sides for a conflict, and then there's obviously they have extra stuff if you want more of the figures. But this was one of those packs. I think it came with a bunch of big old robots too, which I don't really give a shit about. But these were the cool things. And so again, they were sitting here, and I said, you know what, that seems like something that's simple enough to paint. I slapped some base texture on them. I think I used one of the Vallejo putties.
Yeah.
After I got them on, they're all on washers as always, but got them on the washers. Why is that not focusing? That was in focus just fine a minute ago. Got them on the washers, got the base texture on there, primed them white, and here we go. So we got that. Here's the bad guy infantry, which again is 6 mil, so it's pretty good stuff for 6 mil, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And those are gonna be dead easy to paint. I mean,
right. You thought stormtroopers were easy. Snowtroopers are a lark.
Yeah. Well, I mean, those dudes,
especially in 6 mil. Yeah. No, they're gonna get a wash. I'm gonna paint their guns black.
I would paint the guns black. I would give them a wash of apothecary white contrast. Call it done.
I'm probably gonna use a darker wash just because they are 6s.
Oh, well, what I would do is I would probably hit them with the apothecary white, and then a not light in tone, but light in coverage of probably a Nuln oil to get down into the crevices.
I am not sure. I was also using shitty spray primer, so they've already got a fair amount of shadow on them.
Oh, okay.
Which was a delightful delightful side effect of using crappy paint. But
yeah, so you could probably just hit them with the Nuln oil and call it good.
Yeah, just a really, really watered down dark wash, and again pick out the black because their guns are still black, and then maybe just depending on how cruddy they look after the wash, I might come back and hit their helmets with just a dot of white. Just because those tended to look really shiny and reflecty, and they're a big flat surface. So while a wash might pool on it because it's an acrylic wash, not an oil wash, I still want those to be bright, shiny white. That'll just add that extra little dimension to.
So how are you planning to play them?
I have no idea, man. No idea. Probably wind up just doing fistful of lead. What?
You mean like that?
Oh, yeah. Actually, I was not even looking up, but yes. Like I said, I probably just wind up using fistful of lead and, statting them out as if they were individual models. That's worked fairly well in the past for me. That's how we used to convert, bolt action over to 6 mil. Was we'd have a platoon of tanks that would activate on one die. Stuff like that.
Well, you could also do with 6 mm. You got a real good way of going with bigger battles.
Yeah, honestly, I just count the bases as one dude. Yeah, and that way it's simple enough for people who haven't necessarily I'm still working on just every week or so. I'm bringing a new game of Fistful of Lead up to the local shop, which is good because there's actually been a number of guys who then printed off their own PDFs that they got and started bringing them in, which is pretty awesome.
And that's game night.
Yes, at game night at 8380 Watson Road in St. Louis, Missouri. I think it's 63123, or that's probably Crestwood. I don't know what the zip is, but
yeah, close enough.
Yeah,
you put in game night 8380 Watson Road, St. Louis, Missouri. It'll get you there.
Yeah, exactly. But so that's been really cool. But part of that is, just showing the system. We played a modern game set basically in the present day. We've played last week. What did we play? Crap. Oh geez. Cowboys, obviously. We played some fantasy, not using necessarily the fantasy rules, but just the core rules, because the only rule book I brought up there so far, other than Reloaded for scenario ideas, because there are really good scenarios in Fistful of Lead Reloaded, the
there are
game. But no, so I've been playing. The point was just to, dude, you buy a $7 PDF. Here's all the stuff. If you don't want to come up with stuff, there are definitely, there are absolutely supplements like Reloaded that'll, that you're just basically buying essentially you're not buying army lists, but it's that sort of a thing. It's got that kind of codex feeling where it's just, okay, I want to make the rule set a little easier to understand just by picking it up in this specific setting. Here we go. I think one dude actually went out and got like all the PDFs, which is good because it's just furthering the my argument to Mr. Wiley that he needs a buy all button.
Yes, he does. Yeah, he needs to buy all button.
Like every core, every book PDF, and just knock 10% or knock, a little bit more off it than the standard 15. And man, who knows? That seems like the king of the upsell right there. Mainly because I'd probably wind up doing it anyways. Because somehow I'm going to figure out how to lose the PDFs like I lose the paperback copies.
Well, there is that. So, but mentioning by going to wiley-games.com for your enjoyment. We do have a
promo code.
A coupon, a coupon.
Coupons. We got the coupons.
Got the coupons. It's just not J, NOTJAY. Gives you
no space, right?
Discount. No space.
No space.
Not J, all lowercase, no space. And that's going to give you a 10% discount on your entire basket, except for the bundles. Don't get to Action Steve saying your name on the
mailbag.
On the mailbag, jackass mailbag or ass bag mailbag or whatever it's called.
Oh, that's all good. I mean, the bundles are already more than 10%.
Yeah, you're getting 15%. So don't say I didn't get my 10% off on the bundle because you got 15%.
Right,
be quiet.
An extra 5%. That's cool.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's like when I'm at work working overtime on a holiday, and my boss is like, "Hey, we're gonna move your days around, so this isn't overtime." What? You don't? Why are you gonna work for time and a half when you're getting 2-time holiday pay? Oh, okay. Yeah, just you're getting a better deal. It's good. And you're paying $7 for a PDF of a rule book. Take a hike.
Exactly. So that's a one-time code use for you. And don't go thinking you're going to be able to get over on anybody by changing your email address. Robin's smart.
Way too smart. I figured that one out.
Robin is a freaking genius. So, but 10%. You can't beat it.
You can get T-shirts and shit with that discount too, which is awesome.
Yeah. If you want some kick-ass Fistful of Lead merch, 10% off everything in that basket one time, except for the bundles. So do it. John, you've been sitting there for the last 14 minutes. being all nice and calm. What are you working on?
I'm actually putting together a bunch of minis for a convention, which current as we record is next weekend, but when you broadcast this will have happened the weekend before.
Whoa!
Well,
Okay.
I hope you have had a good time.
Yeah, I hope it was really fun, John.
Yes, I'm hoping to, and it was wonderful, something like that. Yeah. So I'm running a stand up there, which is all about painting, and it's just giving people because perhaps we'll talk about this later on. But yeah, conventions can be really really busy, so we're having a stand where you can just paint. We've got some great sponsors, and people have given us stuff, and what they've given us, which is lovely in some cases, is things like a bunch of sprues, which of course is no good for people. I need to make these up into actual little minis for people to paint. So my job this evening is to do 4 of these. I've just done the boats, which were easy. So we've done the small boats, and I'm on to some Agincourt French infantry, which is the ones we've got here, which I should be probably swearing and cursing at during the course of this podcast.
I was going to say, are you allowed to build French infantry, or does that make you some sort of like you're not going to get drawn and quartered, are you?
Yeah. Well, he can use the excuse of he's creating targets for the British military to practice on.
Yeah, there you go. These are just longbow targets.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. But I've never done this.
We got you covered.
Thank you. But I've never done any from this particular company before, and I'm looking at this and I know next to nothing about that period of time. And so I've got the box here and other stuff in front of me, hoping that I get I could probably figure out left and right arm, but I'm sure someone will point out that, oh no, they didn't have that spear in that particular period of time. Like, well, hey,
then why did they put it on the sprue?
Yeah.
Let's put it this way: the Perry brothers know better than our viewers, so there you go.
So what's the company? What's the brand?
This particular ones we got from Perry Miniatures.
Okay, very nice. So you got some.
Oh yeah, the quality. Oh no, the quality. The quality bits of kit. I have no doubt about the historical accuracy of the bits. Just my ability to put them together.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. The Perry brothers know more than any of us or any of our local viewers. Looking at you, Warmutt, since you're probably sitting outside right now watching this on your phone because we all know you. Those look gorgeous, John.
Well, they are good minutes, yeah. We'll see how it goes. So, yeah, that's what but I don't even get the joy of painting these. Well, until next weekend, last weekend. Time shifting is going to really mess my head up because it'll be other people. But, the idea is there's a group of us there, there's 3 of us on the stand, and we're just there painting. We've got some painting sessions, we've got some sculpting sessions. People can just sit and paint for half an hour if they want to. We're not going to, we're not selling anything. We're just offering space for painting.
Very cool.
Or we can offer some tips now. I am. It's quite good because I'm the. Although I'm a fairly competent painter, I am actually the worst painter of the team, so I should be learning lots of things.
There you go. Now I know that at a lot of the different conventions that I have been a part of, that I've personally gone to, especially recruits, rest in peace. They've had they've had a painting table where the kids can come up, grab a miniature, sit down, and paint to their desire. So that's something that I really enjoy seeing, and doesn't cost them anything to do that. The paints are all donated by various individuals that have spent years, possibly decades in the hobby, so they've got just scads of paint that they bring down.
Didn't John Walker used to run a painting thing with Reaper paints at recruits?
No, what he would do is he would do it in other shows. The one with at recruits was always put together by Dwayne Fleck.
Oh, okay. I thought for sure he had folks that he had calves and Reaper paints to sit down and paint.
Well, he did that the one time he was there. He had that also.
Okay, yeah. That was really cool. That was one of those. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, but yeah, there's sometimes they'll reach out to Reaper. Sometimes They'll get just a passel of old Ral Partha D&D miniatures that somebody had in their basement that, decades old and never touching, that type of thing.
See, that's cool, man.
Yeah. And it's something I hope we are able to continue with at March to Victory. I would love to see that happen. By the way,
it's interesting you're saying that, because this is the same sort of thing, but I've not seen this at any UK conventions before. There's a speed painting table, the one I'm going to salute, which has been there before, but this is just not, as you say, just sit down and just sit down and paint. Here's a mini, here's a brush, here's some paint, have fun. You know, if you want to ask advice, we've got some people here. If you just want to sit and paint for half an hour amidst the hustle and bustle of a busy convention, just sit down.
Exactly.
But I've not seen that before in UK. Okay, the ones I've been to, which is a small selection. It may happen elsewhere.
Yeah. So
pretty cool.
Go ahead.
I'm getting well off into the weeds now, but you mentioned, people bringing in old Ral Partha minis and stuff. It'd be pretty cool to have a bunch of random 3D printed miniatures for March to Victory to paint. I wonder if a certain, not Mr. Foss. Damn it, now I'm losing it.
Jay Wiley.
No, who's the other cool Thomas from Knuckle Duster?
Oh, Forrest Harris.
Forrest Harris. How the hell did I get? Oh, probably because Forrest and Foss. It'd be cool if Mr. Harris could help us out with a cool 3D modeled figure. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I know I would print off several bill plates to donate. That'd be pretty slick.
Yeah.
Yes, he's done that before, because for am I allowed to mention other Facebook pages on this channel? Or are you going to get grumpy?
Do it. I'm going to have another Facebook.
I was going to say we've got another YouTube person coming on Wednesday. So
yeah,
okay.
It's next Wednesday, but it's last Wednesday.
Whoa!
Woo!
Well, the painting stand at Salute is based on behalf of the Paint or the Minis page, which is just all about painting minis. The clue is in the name. Right. But they've run a couple of Dan Adam and Pete Brown, who are two of the other admins, have run a couple of PatmaCons, so online conventions with all the lockdown. And certainly for the last one, Forrest was kind enough to give out an STL for one of his figures. I've got it, and I'm desperately trying to remember which character it is. But it's he gave out a free STL with it, so he certainly can. Cool. He does do that. I've yet to print one out, but
awesome.
I'll have to reach out to Mr. Harris, because A, his stuff is top notch. B, he has a long history of working with Wiley Games.
Well, and us.
Well, yeah, and us.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's like. And it doesn't even have to be anything special. We're not asking for a new design or anything. Just,
Not only that, but the man's awesome. And if you just sat there and was like, how many times has Forrest said, "Man, that'd be cool," and then said, "Hey guys, look what I did yesterday." Like,
yeah, exactly.
All right, shut up, Forrest. So, fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, you 3D sculpted a mini faster than I've put together some miniatures. Okay, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Cool. You're super talented at this. Good job.
Yeah.
Also, I hope you're watching this for us. I can't wait for Gunfire.
I've got it. It's sorry, I just had to go and look it up. It's the Ace Kilkenny figure. It's the free one he gave out for those who went to PatmaCon, which looks remarkably like Lemmy from Motorhead.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Although I'm sure it isn't, and for copyright reasons, I'm sure it isn't. But certainly got the look about it.
So digging in deeper here with we've been talking about conventions and what conventions I've been to and what conventions I hope to go to and conventions I'm wanting to see happen. I've noticed over the years with listening to my brother's podcast, The Veteran Wargamer. Hey, I don't have anybody here to give me shit about that.
Yeah, I was about to say, where is Jay? He should be giving you trouble right now.
Yeah. Oh no, he sent me a text message just a minute ago, asking me what I'm doing.
Oh, there you go. Oh yeah, we're not live. Never mind.
We're talking about you. We're talking about you, Jay.
Yeah, you can feel it tingling. He's got that little brother sense going.
Yeah. So, but there's a difference between our gaming conventions and your gaming shows. I do y'all call them conventions over there? Because I always hear about, oh, it's the Wharton show, or it's the this show, or it's a that show.
Yeah.
Um, uh, I mean, we talk about conventions. We talk about going to uh, the Recruits convention, or Gen Con convention, or Adepticon, or
I was about to
a
say,
lot a lot of a lot of conventions have some sort of con in there, Twister
yeah,
Con
it's
or
like a
Koopa
play on words
Con,
sort of thing. Yeah.
play on words, yeah. So, but so that's a good start. Do you call them conventions over in the UK, or do you just call them shows?
So they tend to be a mixture. And I don't think there's nothing that sort of says, oh, if you're up to this size, you're a show. If you're bigger than that, you're a con. It's a mix. So I've been to there used to be one called Robin Con, which was in Nottingham, hence Robin Hood,
Yeah,
which was a relatively small affair, but quite a nice one. I'm going to the Salute Show next weekend, stroke last week, depending when you listen to this, which is a show, but it's the biggest one in the UK, or one of the
right,
largest ones in the UK. So I don't think we get hung up on what you call it. It's an event. It's
right.
turn up. There are differences between them in terms of what they do at them. And I perhaps we'll come on this as well, but it's so Salute, for instance, is very much a trade show. There are demonstration and participation games there, but there's no competitions or big sort of bring and buy, as we call them, or swap meet. I guess it's the US version of that stuff going on. It's a trade one with participation games, and it's fabulous. Don't get me wrong, I thoroughly enjoy it. Whereas others I've been to, so if you go to Warfare, which is the Warfare show in Reading, in the UK, again quite a large one, but that has a combination of it seems to be slightly smaller on the trade side, although it's still a good size. And they have some participation games, but they've got a big competition games, compete for all sorts of games running alongside that as well. So there tend to be broadly two different types. One's with competitions, competitive gaming, and one's without.
Okay, so that's also interesting that of course you call them competition games, and that's exactly what they are. They're competitions. We call them tournaments over here, and
Yeah, yeah,
maybe call them tournaments over there as well. But yeah, we've got quite a. There's one in particular that's primarily a competition gaming event, a convention. That's Adepticon up in Chicago every April, I think it is.
Yeah, spring break
And
time.
that is, it's gotten to be a big event.
I remember when DEFCON started out, and it was just like a little 40K tournament.
Yeah, it was like, what, 10, 12 tables. It's now literally hundreds of tables, and it's 40K and Age of Sigmar and Warma Hordes and Black
It's a big thing now, which is
stuff.
good.
I mean, and if it gets people out to play games and allows them to do what they want to do, then, hey,
Eventually, they'll find a good game to play. That's all.
more power to them.
yes.
I'm not going to tell them how to have fun. I'm not going to be there having that type of fun, though.
I've been out evangelizing to the Games Workshop people. I get it. It's weird.
Yeah, well, it's heretic.
Have you heard the good news of our Lord and Savior Jay Wiley?
Yes, because that's
Slash
where it's
anything.
at.
I've been playing a lot of other historical games with them too, but yeah, just stop paying $70 for a single model.
Exactly. It's the other thing that I get confused on, and if I stop and think about it, it makes sense. I think y'all have at conventions or shows demo games and participation games. What's the real difference between the two?
I'm kind of slightly guessing here because I'm aware that both types exist. But a demo game, the average Joe public can't turn up and join in. If it's a demo game, it'll be some people playing not for competition, but they are demonstrating the game, or the game concept, the game layout, but they're not just generally inviting people to join in. So there aren't that many demo games going to be happening at Salute. The vast majority are participation. Come along in, come and spend 10 minutes and take control of this ship, this person, this whatever it might be, and have a go and join in. But there'll be a crew running it the whole time anyway, and then people can just drop in and drop out as they see fit. Or there might be a small one. I've done a couple of participation games for Gates of Antares, and we've had a scenario there, and we just get people come in, book a slot, and we actually run a game with them. And we have we'll have 3 or 4 assistants or helpers with them, so they don't have to worry too much about the rules and can concentrate on just playing. And we've done that, and that's really quite good fun. So yeah, demo to participation. Demo is you can't have people just dropping in. Participation is come in and have some fun.
Okay.
And the vast majority will be participation.
Because at least over here, when I think of a demo game, I think of a company such as Fantasy
Wiley
Flight Games or
You see them with the big companies a lot.
Pirates. Who is it? Not Pirates of Penzance. That's a musical.
Fistful of Seamen?
What's that?
Fistful of Seamen?
No. The
Blood and Plunder?
Privateer Press.
Oh, okay.
Privateer
You see Pirates.
Yeah, I know.
So actually, hold on. Before we get Harrington too lost in the weeds, let me defend myself here.
Yes.
At Recruits, there used to be a group called the Fistful of Seamen. That's with an A. Who would run huge pirate games. So when he said pirate and participation game,
yeah.
As well as, okay, you're talking about the Fistful of Seamen. Again, with an A.
Right.
Before YouTube decides that I'm a terrible person and starts blocking you and Todd.
Everybody else. And, yeah.
But yeah, so that's when he said pirate. Yeah. That's what I thought of. That's why Blood and Plunder was the next one. Get your mind out of the gutter, Harrington. Jeez.
I said absolutely nothing.
You bring this,
but a demo game to me
is on here,
right? They've got this little. Normally, it's like a little 2x2 table. They've got, 6, 7, 8 miniatures. They've got a little measuring stick. They got maybe some terrain, and they run people through, 2 or 3 little moves. Okay, here's how you move your character. Here's how you shoot the character. Okay, have fun. Go buy our stuff.
Right.
That is because they are demonstrating directly to the person that they're looking to sell to.
Yeah. Okay. That happens. That also happens.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, to my reckoning, what most of the American gaming conventions are people bringing a entire game scenario with them, setting it up, running it for 3 to 4 hours with a set number of players. So like my brother and I will run What a Tanker, World War II, Southern France, and we'll have it all laid out, and we'll have 6 to 8 slots, and the first 6 to 8 people that show up, they're the ones that play, and they play the full 3 to 4 hours.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and you're playing the entire scenario when you're there. So my Tantu 4 project, it's going to have 6 players, and they're going to be the same 6 players the entire time. Now, if someone says, this isn't for me, or, hey, I got to go, that's fine. They can drop out. And if someone's there and wants to join in, they're more than welcome to. I mean, it's not locked down. Once we start, you can't get in or you can't leave or anything like that. But it's generally, and that's another thing. Salute, how many days is Salute?
1. So that's where if you're having some, and there are some big games going on there, but generally people are not going to spend 3 or 4 hours at a single game, because if you do that, you'll miss the rest of the show. Right. It only runs for 7 hours. Yeah. So if you're spending 3 or 4 of those at a thing, and it takes. I mean, square footage. I did a rough count. I think it's something between 50 and 70,000 square feet. Depends how big it is each year. It'll take you a good day to walk around and have a look at everything. The good
Yeah.
7 hours. Let alone start talking to people or join in with things. So there
Yeah.
are a
See,
number of events that go over 2 days. So I could see potentially people might go for that and walk around one day and then play a couple of games the next.
yeah,
But the
so
1 day ones, no.
that's most, again, not all, but most public gaming events that I have been part of have been multi-day events where they
Yeah.
start Friday afternoon and go through
Oh,
Sunday.
yeah.
So the first game session Friday afternoon normally starts probably around 4, and they'll play for 3 or 4 hours, have an
Yeah.
hour break, and then have the uh, late night session. So you'll have 2 game sessions on Monday, 3 or 4 game sessions on Saturday, and then a game session or 2 on Sunday.
Okay.
So what'll happen is, well before the event occurs, the organizers will, and now it's a lot easier with the internet and emails and Facebook groups and whatnot, but they will put out the catalog of games being run.
Yeah.
And what you do is you get a hold of that catalog and you go through, okay, Saturday or Friday I'm not going to be able to get there until 5 o'clock, so I'm just going to walk around and look
Yeah.
at the vendors. I'm going to see what different tables, and get visit with people I haven't seen since the last time we were at a convention.
Yeah.
And then Saturday morning I'm going to be there bright and early, 9 a.m., and I'm going to play this game in the morning session. I'm going to play this game at the afternoon session. Lunch is, I can either do lunch here at the con, or there's a really good taco joint not too far away that I can hit
Hmm.
and be back in time for the afternoon session, the late afternoon session, and then the evening session. And they figure out exactly what they're going to play, get their brains wrapped around what's going to happen. So, and some, like me, I don't go to conventions to play games. I go to conventions to run games because
Yeah.
I love. Uh, I'll get a game that I really, really like, and I want people to like it also, because if they like it, they'll buy into it, and if they buy into it, it will continue to live.
Yes.
So that's why I'm all about Fistful of Lead. Is because I love the system. As everybody that has ever listened to any of the shows that I've ever been on realizes this.
Yeah.
If you don't, you haven't been paying attention. Um,
Yep.
but
It's just
I want Jay Wiley to continue doing what he's doing. So I'm going to show as many people as I possibly can the game. So that means I have to be the one bringing the game to the table,
yeah.
or Big Murray bringing the game to the table, or whomever. But I'm there for it. I you know I rarely go to a convention to play somebody else's game unless it's something that's new and looks interesting, and it gives me a chance to see if it's something I like, and then
Mhm.
if I do, I can buy into it. And I think that's another thing. It's I've never understood and I've heard this happen before, and I don't, and it's just anecdotal, but I've heard where there have been times when people would set up, quote unquote, a demo game, and all they did was their club brought their really pretty scenery and just played the game in a public place, but didn't interact with people.
Yeah. No, it's no fun at all, is it?
And it's like, why? I mean, I understand if you set it up to where they're not going to be able, the the event attendee isn't going to be necessarily, coming into, roll dice and push figs, which why go to a convention if you're not able to do that? But then not be presence of mind enough to interact with the public, to tell them what you're playing and how you're playing it and what's going on and what's happening. And I'm not saying that it happens a lot, because I don't know. I've not been in that situation. I've heard that has happened before, and it's like, man, well, first off, it'd turn me off from your gaming group. Secondly, that'd turn me off from finding out more about that particular game to play, because
sure.
if the type of people that are going to play this game are that kind of people, then I don't want anything part of it.
No, you're absolutely right.
So,
I mean, I'm not saying I've not been to that many shows and cons and things, so there may be something similar to that, but most of them I think tend to be more the participation games rather than what you're suggesting. Saying that, there is a UK Games Expo which happens most years, but it's more leaning towards board games rather than war games. Although war game companies do go, and I know they run from Friday on to Sunday. I know there's quite a big there's quite a lot of what you would talk about, the games there for role playing. They start on the Friday and they'll run through Saturday and Sunday as well. But that's a more of a general game expedition rather than a dedicated to wargaming per se.
Yeah.
So it does happen.
Yeah.
But I guess it pays money, takes choice, isn't it? I mean, there's a bit out there for everyone. I mean, if you don't like it, don't do it.
So, I think another difference between how we do our gaming here and how you do your gaming there is where we do our day-to-day / weekly gaming.
Okay.
Here in the Midwest, and I've only got two general areas to go by: the Midwest, Kansas City, St. Louis area, and Austin, San Antonio area. And in both locations, there is a high number of gaming opportunities in home and at your local game store. So, for instance, in Austin, when I wanted to play a game with my friends, I had space set aside. I was lucky enough to have space set aside to have them come over and play on a 4-foot by 8-foot table in my game room, which was the formal dining room. But it was just Donna and me, so we never ate in the dining room anyway. So I had my 4x8 table set up there. And up here in Missouri area, if you want to play with your friends, you have them come over and go down to the basement, and you've got a table set up there. And some people's basements are nicer than others. Jay Wiley.
Yeah.
Wiley's basement always seems like it's full of smelly, sweaty guys.
Yeah, I know. It's
speaking as a smelly, sweaty guy from Jay Wiley's basement.
Yeah, and cigar smoke. Lots of cigar smoke.
Yeah.
But the other place that we do a lot of our gaming is in game stores, where the store actually sets aside actual space to set up tables to game on. All of the game stores that I have been able to go to, both Kansas City, St. Louis, Austin, San Antonio, all of them have at least 2 game tables, if not more. Game night's got what, 5 or 6?
More than
Or
that.
actually, they've got 5 or 6 in that one on that one side, and then over there, on the
There's probably a dozen at least.
Yeah, they got a dozen. Miniature Mart on Manchester, they've easily got
again another dozen.
There's
all in one spot though. Yeah.
I
mean, I've been to U.S. stores that don't have game space, but usually they're really small, like in a mall or maybe a strip.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're out there, but they're not as. I feel like especially in the Midwest and the Western United States, in the land of great commercial expansion, we kind of have a leg up on.
We got lots of room. We can spread out.
That's just for us, much less Brian or somebody who lives out in Arizona where it's just blah.
Yeah.
Like I said, I usually find the stores that have large gaming spaces aren't in downtown St. Louis and stuff like that. They're usually out.
Right. They're in the environs.
Yeah, which isn't a bad thing. It's just an observation, but it's again, they're out there, but yeah, it seems like there's a fair number. Also, there's not as many. I noticed that a lot of people in the UK game in clubs, right? Like the back of bars, stuff like that. And those do exist in the US. But I'm not sure they're quite as prevalent, quite as frequently seen.
So I was part of a gaming club in Austin, but we always met at the game store.
Yeah.
Now that game store isn't around anymore, the club now meets at different people's houses.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've hosted games at my home. I know I've played many games at other people's homes. And I know especially over the last year or so, or 2 years, that's taken off, like crazy.
Yeah.
So, and we don't most of the time. Now Kansas City is different. There have been several game clubs that would actually come to a convention as a club to run games, and they would say, okay, John, you're going to take care of the miniatures. Bob, you're going to take care of the terrain. Steve, I need you to make sure that you know the rules and got a good scenario. And so they would come together to put on a really, really great production to show off whatever it is that they decided they wanted to show off. But in most situations, it's a guy or two guys show up with, all the stuff to play the game with. Like my brother and I show up to play whatever games we're running. What's it like over there in the UK? Do y'all do club activities like that, or are y'all individuals, or what's the poop, as it were?
It's a small deck above the quarter deck. Usually has a cabin.
Yeah, I'm going to speak in broad generalizations here, because I'm sure people in 2 weeks' time, straight when they're listening to this, will be going, no, we do this in our club. But
that's the best way to do it.
Yeah,
it is. But they can't complain, because I'll have forgotten about this in 2 weeks' time.
Right, there you go.
And they can't come give me grief at the show, because it'll have happened. So it doesn't make.
Yeah.
This is perfect for you.
Right.
So most. Certainly, the game stores that I've seen don't tend to, will have maybe 1 or 2 tables because space constraints primarily. The stores are relatively small. Again, whether that's just because the UK is much more compact, I don't know. There is a good one in Bristol, not far from me. It's a work on out of town one. It's in an industrial estate. They've got the space for a big, and they run. They're essentially somewhere you can go and play games that happens to have a shop attached to it, as opposed to a shop where you can go and play games. And there are a few of those around the country, but the majority of the stores that sell the games aren't that physically that large, and therefore don't have a dozen game tables in there. They just couldn't fit it in. So yes, a lot of clubs exist in the UK. I mean, there's 3 or 4 within sort of an hour's drive of where I am now, and I'm in a fairly rural bit of the country. And we tend to go to clubs, and they'll be hosted in village halls or community centres or sports centres, wherever it may be. People can get together and go play games. So the club I go to, the Boscombe Down and Ainsbury War Games Club, we meet in a local community centre in Ainsbury, and but we just is a whole bunch of people get together, once a week, plus they have monthly weekend things as well, and we just play. We bring games along, organising ahead of what you're going to do, and come along and play. And we have a wide representation of games there. We're one of the biggest groups I've ever seen was last week when we had 2 or 3 tables of 40k, a couple of World War II, Saga, historical, Antares, where I was playing, a couple of games of X-Wing going on. There's quite a selection of events there. There are other clubs, however, that concentrate on more historical ones. So in Wells, again, not far from me, there's a historical club. They've been around for a long time in one form or another. Again, meet in a hall, but they focus on historical type games. Entirely fine. That's all to do. Go for it. So it does tend to be clubs. Do we tend to go to people's houses? It's hard to remember what life was like before we locked down, but yes, you do if you've got the space to go and play. But people do tend to get together in the club environment, and it's the clubs who then go. So, for instance, Salute, which is the biggest show in the UK, is run by the South London Warlords. It's a gaming club who meet in a club, and then every year they've been putting this event, which has grown and grown and grown to the size it is now. I mean, it's held at a huge exhibition hall, which they don't take up all of it, I might add, in London. That's probably why it's one day, because the cost of setting it up, but and the effort required to do it. But clubs will do that sort of thing and have host shows themselves, which over the years have grown into bigger and bigger events, which is good to see.
So so there's rarely, again, we're doing broad strokes here.
Yeah.
So there's rarely an individual type of a situation where me and my buddies are gonna get together and just hang out at one of the guys' houses, and I probably, again, it's because we've just got, for the most part, we've just got space running out of our ears over here. To be honest, I mean, I live in a small house, but I'm fairly certain it would be a large house over in the UK.
I mean, to a certain extent, we don't have ancestral estates that are
no. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about normal, everyday, people. I have a 1,200 square foot house. Here in the United States, that's on the small side. I grew up in a 1,600 square foot house, and that was 3 bedroom, 2 bath. Kitchen, living room, dining room.
Yeah.
I at one point in time when I lived in Austin, I had a 2,800 square foot house.
Jesus Christ!
It was 4 bedroom, 2.5 baths.
I live in a 900 square foot house.
Yeah, so
it's crammed full of my shit.
Yeah, well, but I always have this feeling that folks in the UK live in, they live with a lot less
mud huts
stuff than what I've got, because I'm packed to the gills here, because it's all of my crap and all of Donna's crap.
But it's still like Braveheart, right? Like you got the rock and the roof is made out of moss and stuff.
Well, over here, I mean,
or just in Scotland.
I have the butler clean one of the games rooms out, and we push the billiards table to one side and kick out a couple of peasants who've happened to have nested in there, and away we go.
Yeah, well, that's one of the nice things you can do when you're Lord Harrington of the Royal Navy.
No, I have my house is not that. I've worked out. I haven't done it here. I could just about get a 6x4 table in my conservatory.
And you're what?
Oh, this is where we're going to.
What is this, Clue?
I said that and realised.
How many drawing rooms do you have, John?
Just. What do you call? I don't know if you have them on. What's the equivalent American? We have,
No, I don't have a room in my house.
It's basically glass. It's
string quartet. What the shit?
Do you know? As soon as I said that, I really was going to be a mistake.
I could absolutely see it in your mind. Oh, damn it, McMurray's gonna fucking.
It was just too late. It was just too late.
Send it. Yeah.
What do you call a mostly glass? A sunroom. Okay, thank you. A sunroom. Okay, if you want to call it a sunroom, fine. Yes, we do have. I have a sunroom here, and I could just, I reckon, get a 6x4 in there, and about 3 people.
Is there a lead pipe or a candlestick in there? Oh, good God. Lord Harrington killed McMurray in the conservatory with a lead pipe.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish.
Oh, wow. Damn. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Not
right, maybe John is now off of that list of people we have to save before the little rain gets flooded.
Oh man. Yeah, I find it interesting that there's so, and this is just the way it is through all parts of life. Things are just so different between the United States and the UK.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, I think, has to do with how long we've been around. I mean, England, as we know it is, the United Kingdom of England, Ireland, Scotland, and England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland.
There you go.
I was going to get it right eventually.
You got it.
Has been around in its existing form several hundred years longer than the United States.
You chucked in Northern Ireland. Oh. That started in 1921. Sorry.
Well,
these are just like post-Hoover era. Sorry, UK.
That's okay. That's all right. Yeah. One day you'll be around long enough to have traditions. At the moment, you've just got dirty habits.
Oh yeah. Called freedom. Awesome.
But the old saying goes, 200 years is a long time in the United States. 200 miles is a long distance in the UK.
Yes. Yeah.
McMurray drove 200 miles one way for an evening of gaming.
I did, yeah, to fuck with Wiley and Steve. Yeah.
What part of England are you in, John?
So I'm in Somerset, which is southwest-ish. Okay,
out towards Somerset's not too far from
like
Stonehenge, right?
Stonehenge is Amesbury is where the gaming club is basically just next to Stonehenge. So yeah, I'm about half an hour, 45 minutes drive from Stonehenge. So yeah, I'm just slightly further west than Stonehenge.
So how long does it take them to move the rocks on daylight savings time, John?
Oh, it's a bugger. You can't move for druids when they do that. It's a real pain.
Right. No shit.
So how far is it? So I'm picturing in my brain. And you know what? Since this is a recording, I might throw up a map here. So where you are in Somerset, how far is it to, say, Manchester?
You know what? I'm going to double check. I know I can drive it in about 3.5 hours, but I will. Let me just do a quick.
Okay, so that's about, assuming same rate of speed. That's about the distance that McMurray drove.
I think we're traveling at very, very different rates of speed.
Yeah. Okay. So Manchester from me is just over 200 miles away, and it would take me almost 4 hours to get there.
Yeah. So
that's a 3-hour drive, assuming I take a long poop break.
Right.
Yeah, well, yeah, but
So
you got to remember, I'm in very much in rural Somerset. You know, to get anywhere from here, the first hour is on
on
small
A
road. I
roads,
mean,
right?
given your big highways,
Oh no, I
everything's on
got
small
you.
roads.
You
But
guys also have we talked about this before. You guys also have speed cameras everywhere
yes,
and traffic cops everywhere.
Yeah.
They're
So,
constantly, but
so
it's a rarity.
but that's roughly the distance. 200 miles, give or take, is roughly the
yeah,
difference between the east side of Missouri and the west side of Missouri.
oh yeah,
St. Louis and Kansas City. You and a lot of your countrymen would not even consider making a drive like that for a day, much
Unless
less.
it's Warlord Games Open Day, right, John?
yeah. Well, that's the thing. Yes, I have done.
And how did
I've
that
done
work
that.
out?
It was fine.
But
That's fair.
even going further than that, I've driven 15 hours one way just for 2 days of gaming.
And that, yeah, I mean, it's very
That
difficult.
that what takes you from about Dover to Glasgow?
And back.
Probably a bit, yeah, about that, maybe a little bit further. Oh no, for further than that, because it's 12 hours from to the northwest bit of Scotland from where I am, and that was 12 hours of traveling. So yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, 15 hours is probably sort of tip of Somerset. I mean, Land's End to John O'Groats is the kind of the long thing.
Yeah.
Let me.
But who in the UK is doing that?
Yeah, no one.
No one. And it was like, now granted it was for me to get from Austin to up here to be at my brother's, gaming event, but still 15 hours is 15 hours. I mean, excuse me.
I mean, the other thing is we were young. You were young and dumb at the time. I'd done that.
That was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, you
So
were dumb at the time. I've done.
so from the very southwestern tip of the UK
Land's
to the
End, yeah.
northeastern tips, the Land's End John O'Groats is 837 miles, and it'll take you 14 hours to drive it.
Yeah.
If you're gonna drive any more than that, you're gonna get wet. It's,
So
You got to start doing laps, huh?
So just to give you an idea of how big Texas.
Oh, here comes
is.
Texas. Yep.
yeah. You could hear it coming, couldn't you? Yeah. Everything's bigger in Texas.
You guys, Chris has always wished he could live in Texas, dear viewers. So just bear with him.
I did, and I want to go back. But from Orange, Texas, which is on the Texas-Louisiana border, to El Paso, Texas, on the Texas-New Mexico border, is over 900 miles.
Yeah.
So, and that's just, now granted, that's a full third of the width of the United States. But, going from Austin, Texas to up here, it's a 15-hour drive, and I drove through part or all of 4 states.
Just wait until John hears about the drive to Hawaii. It's brutal, man. It's brutal.
It's brutal. Yeah, that last bit on the pedal boat, it takes you a while, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
But anyway, sometimes it's all you got.
But if Warmutt wanted to come to visit us by car,
yeah,
I mean that's 24 hours.
Where's he? Well, I don't need to know exact details.
Arizona.
Oh, okay, right.
He's in the Phoenix, Tempe area of Arizona.
Yeah.
Same with Jeff is looking at well over 12 hours too if you were to drive out here. Actually, I think I figured out from my house to Jeff's house, if we went straight, it'd be right about 12 hours. Depending on, again, the driving habits.
Which is wild to me, thinking that that's that close.
Yeah.
Because again, living in Texas, everything is at least 5 hours. If you're not going to someplace in Texas from Austin or San Antonio, it's 5 hours in any direction to get out of the state.
Yeah.
So going to the East Coast, and Jeff isn't even on the East Coast.
No, he's
You know.
significantly inland. Yeah.
He's at least 3 hours, if not 4 hours, into the United States off the Atlantic Ocean.
Oh yeah.
And that's, driving from Austin that's easily a 20-hour drive. So, thinking, oh, it's only 12 hours? Shit. Come on, McGuire, let's go.
That's the thing, is that Todd and I have legitimately just gone, yeah, screw it, we could do that. And, one guy would drive, then we'd swap, and the other guy would drive. And I'm sure that stuff happens in the UK. It probably just isn't necessarily as common because, you'd have to be driving into a different country, like a different sovereign nation at that point in time.
Right.
Yeah.
And who wants to go to France, to be honest with you? I can't blame you. I wouldn't leave that island either.
Yeah, it's got to. You're right. There's obviously an element of scale in these things, isn't it? Say everything's bigger in the US, which but it's true. Yeah, you'll have bigger shops. Your things are more spread out. And what I used to travel to Glasgow from Bristol to go up there to work for a day. Not all the time, but I've flown to Paris to work for a day and come back in a day. Which just seems absolutely ridiculous to me. But you guys will happily jump on a plane and go and do that much easier than I would.
Yeah, there's been several times when I would have to travel with one of my former companies. I'd be flying out from Austin on a Tuesday, and I'd be flying out to Dallas or flying up to Houston or whatever. And there'd be these guys that flew so much on the same route that the stewardesses knew them, because on Southwest it's not a hub system, it's a point-to-point system. So you didn't have to fly to one location to get to another location because you had to fly into a major airport to get to someplace else. They would fly, from Austin to Dallas like 7 times a day.
Yeah.
John, you driving from Somerset to Paris is 7 hours and 58 minutes allegedly via the A1. That's almost to the point where if I had to fly or drive, I would almost consider driving.
Yeah.
Right.
Just being, think about it. You get to the airport 2.5 hours before you fly. You're on a plane for an hour and a half, and then it's an hour and a half.
Yeah.
To get off the plane and get to wherever you're going. You're looking at 6 or 7 hours, and then you got to, rent a car there. No, I'd probably drive that, to be honest with you, which
probably
is mind-boggling. But
But yeah, they would have
gas is also way cheaper than yours is, so that probably has something to do with it.
That's also a big part of it. But I would be getting off the plane in Dallas, and the steward would say, Mr. So-and-so, we'll see you this evening, because they would literally fly from Austin to Dallas, do their business, and fly back to Austin same day.
Yeah.
And it was a regular thing. And then that's what made Southwest huge, is that they had a lot of people doing that from San Antonio to Houston to Dallas to back to San Antonio constantly. And but then we look at, to us, the Alamo is old. It was built in the, if I remember correctly, the 1600s, 1700s. So to us, that's old.
I feel like in all fairness, something built in the 1600s is old to John too. But
well, when Oxford is older than the Aztec Empire.
Well, that's fair, but then we've got it's just kind of different levels of old, right? Because we've still got, locally here, I realize you're from Texas and whatnot. Growing up in St. Louis, we've got Cahokia Mounds, right, that were built pre 1000 AD.
Yeah.
Right. So it's one of those, like, there's old shit everywhere. Our old shit is big ass piles of dirt, not.
But see, the thing is,
but
nothing is still happening there.
Oh, I gotcha.
Whereas Oxford, shit's still happening there. So
I'm not arguing with that. You're not wrong.
Yeah, we've got old stuff, but it's old stuff from somebody we've devastated.
I mean, in all fairness, the mound builders were dead long before Europeans got to
Well,
the U.S.
yeah, but
Like,
yeah.
yes, Europeans eventually did devastate the people that wiped out the mound builders. Well,
yeah,
the people who wiped out the people who wiped out the people who wiped out the mound builders.
right, exactly.
So it doesn't. I don't know. That doesn't really count. But yeah.
But it's. I find it interesting that we have so much similar, but we do so much different.
Yeah.
Who was it that said the United States and Britain are separated by the same language or something?
Yeah, two countries separated by the same language. Yeah.
Because
I don't know who it was. Someone cleverer and wittier than me.
Yeah, because y'all got the weirdest damn sayings for stuff like the lift.
Yes, because it lifts you up and down.
Right. Lift is a verb, not a noun.
Really? So the countries for whom I'm
flat is an adjective, not a noun. But yeah.
Well, we've all got the strange things.
How are your French Agincourt troops doing?
I hate making these figures up. Absolutely hate it. They're small, they're fiddly, and I'm trying to work out which bit goes where.
Oh, your figures are small and fiddly, huh?
Yeah. I'm just looking, thinking, it's just doesn't.
Hold on.
Well, yes, there's the man who.
Mine aren't fiddly at all. That's the best part.
Yeah, you don't have to try and glue the arms on them.
Hell no, I don't. That's why I'm painting them. Are you kidding me? These aren't fiddly at all. I just sit here and actually the goofy thing is, and I find myself doing this with 6 mil a lot. I put on a base wash, or I put on a primer.
Yeah.
I did a wash. Then I actually did a highlight. I hit so that their heads and the bottom of their cloaks and stuff would be extra white. It's just one of those. I don't do this shit on 28s. Why am I doing this on 6s?
It's true. I've painted 6 mil figures once that they went into a 28 mil diorama bit of terrain I was building.
Yeah, your awesome Gangs of Rome stuff.
That's the one. Yeah. So that's
gosh.
That's the only time I have painted 6 mil figures. I'm quite happy to leave it like that. That's fine. That's good for me.
Oh man, they're outstanding to paint. They're so fast.
Not small and fiddly.
Oh, yeah. No. I'm happy to stick for 28 mil. Thank you.
Those are 3mm.
I mean, I had so this piece is that in focus? I never tell these things.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
yeah.
That's actually, it came from a 10 mil 3D print, which I could see on the I don't think I've got it here somewhere, but I could see a lot of detail on it. I thought, well, I'll blow it up to 28 mil scale, and it came out really well. So I'm painting it up.
Yeah, it looks good.
It's a beautifully sculpted little necromancer.
That was from your it's like Skeleton Kings kind of thing, right? Your undead army.
It came from, I think it was a Patreon War Master army, which was I got it from, and they're actually, I've got loads of them kicking around. I did a few test prints, but yeah, I think they must have been designed at a larger scale than shrunk, because they all look pretty good.
I've noticed that on a number of. You see a lot with like Epic 40K stuff. Like the tiny dudes are obnoxious. Yeah.
Yeah, and I wouldn't have enjoyed painting it at 10 mil because it's got so much detail. I wanted to actually get into the detail, so I blew it up and spent it. Yeah, let's say I went American style and blew it up, made it much bigger. Sorry, Texas style.
You blew it up and made it good.
And whereas I am going the opposite direction with my next big project, I've spoken about it before. It's I'm going a little bit deeper down the rabbit hole with. I've shifted it back just a touch more. 1983, 49th Armored Division, United States Army National Guard.
Right.
I talked to my dad, who was in the 49th Armored during that time frame.
Okay.
He was in headquarters. He was a sergeant first class in the headquarters of divisional artillery, and they had 4 batteries. 4 battalions. 3 of 155 self-propelled and 1 8-inch self-propelled.
Jesus.
Yeah. So I'm going to have to get, a battalion was 3 batteries. Each battery, I think, is 16 tubes, because there are 12 tubes. Yeah, I think it's 12.
Hurry for Pico armor.
Yeah. But I have to pick up and it looks like 36 to 45. I'll be picking up 45. I'll be picking up 3 bags of M109 Paladins and a bag of M110s, just for the artillery.
What scale is this in?
3 millimeter.
3 mil. Bloody hell.
Yeah. Well, when 15 models is only $4.75, you can do it.
Yeah.
It's a nice thing.
So, and he did confirm to me that he whenever he went to FTX, whenever he went to summer camp, they would always train for Fulda Gap. So that's going to mean either East Germans or Soviets. So I got to see what kit they had in 1983. I know that the actual armored battalions, the actual tank units, are all going to be M60A3s. They did not have M1s at that point.
Oh, for the U.S. I was like,
yeah, for the U.S. I think
this is out in Germany then, Chris. Sorry, forgive my ignorance of.
Yeah, Germany. Fulda Gap is in southern Germany, around the town of Fulda. Hold on here. Fulda.
It's where it's the World War III epicenter for, it was the initial step off. If World War III was going to happen, the thought was it was going to happen there. So it plays a big part in the Team Yankee sort of thing.
Is. Let's see.
I want to say Team Yankee doesn't actually take place at Fulda, or am I mixed up?
It does.
Okay.
Yeah. It is area between Hesse and Thuringian border, the former inter-German border, and Frankfurt am Rhein, or Frankfurt am Main. Contains 2 corridors of lowlands through which tanks might have driven in surprise attack by the Soviets. Crossing the Rhine River, named for the town of Fulda.
Fulda. Oh, okay. Yep. Got it.
Yeah, the Fulda Gap came seen as strategically important during the Cold War. Roughly corresponds to the route along which Napoleon chose to withdraw his armies after the defeat at the Battle of Leipzig. So there
John
you go.
is good at picking up on stuff on GPS.
What's that?
I said John is good at picking up on stuff on GPS.
Yeah,
He's
it's pretty much when you look at unified Germany.
Yeah,
it's damn near dead center.
Yeah, it is. It is particularly central, isn't it?
So, yeah,
it's like it's where East and West Germany would attack each other.
Yep.
Yeah. I've been to, in the Navy, I've been to the coast of Germany, but I went to Berlin a couple of years ago. About 4 years ago now, I suppose it would be. And when they talk about the plains of northern Germany, and you go up the TV tower in Berlin, and it's flat. Just there's a small hillock like 30 miles away, and you go, oh, okay, yeah, it was an insanely flat area here. As far as I can see, there's nothing. You kind of get an impression of it.
Sounds like western Kansas and Nebraska. They have scientifically proven that Western Kansas is flatter than a sheet of paper.
What?
Yeah.
I
So,
don't know. Who knows? Kansas
well,
is dumb.
if you blew up a regular piece of paper,
Yeah.
if you increased the size of a regular piece of paper, so the area that this paper covers was the same as Kansas,
Yeah.
Oh, I gotcha.
the differentiation in elevation up and down of
Would be
the
more on the
different
paper than it is in Kansas.
is more than it is actually in Kansas. It's crazy. Obviously it was all done mathematically because you're not going to be able to actually,
I want to see a
measure.
big ass piece of paper.
Yeah, so do I.
I mainly just want to put it over Kansas.
Well, yeah, because what I'd like to do is find a dryer sheet the size of Nebraska and drape that shit over it because pigs. Holy
Yeah,
crap,
fair.
dude. If you ever get a chance to drive through western Nebraska, don't.
Okay.
Yeah, very simply, John. Don't do it. It smells like
Do you know, I've been going this for nearly an hour and I've done 5.
I've been doing this for about that same time, and I'm adding random texture to the bases because I'm done.
I've done nothing but chat tonight or this.
6s are great.
I'm desperate. Well, I've got to get. Well, I need to make at least 14 as a bare minimum, but I want to do the rest of them as well. But I guess I see what I'm doing for the next few days. These are so.
How many are on those sprues?
12.
Oof.
12 per sprue. Yeah.
And you've got 4 sprues?
3.5. Yeah. Got 3 sprues identical, which I'll get the hang of it eventually.
Yeah.
But it's they give you plenty of options, and you got everything from a cutlass to a dagger to what looks like a horn, as well as bows. There's a good range of stuff here, but it's
I gotta say that's why I like these guys.
Yeah.
They're 3 pieces.
Yeah.
And they're metal models, baby.
Well, there is that too.
That's what the McMurray does.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at this. I just got to stick basic.
Yeah. But anyway, well, I think we're going to go ahead and call this the show for now.
Okay. I was going to show off
go ahead.
The newly finished Lucasy Winter Boys.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we got our...
You're up front and center here.
Oh, holy smokes. Okay. Hang on.
Yeah. If you could do it focus, that'd be great.
I was getting them all arranged properly. Let's give it a second to focus down here. Come on. All right, whatever. It's focused right here. So we got our Rebel Base attackers.
Yeah.
And their white billowy snowsuits. It's kind of hard to see because the light is really heavy.
Yeah.
Is that better? There you go. So again, you can see their rifles and their snowpack suits and stuff. And their walkers. Just gray, bit of a dry brush. We got the weapon in black and everything. And then we've got they're not perfectly canonical, but that's okay because I want a regular to keep around instead of getting sued. So we got the static defense platforms for the defenders of this reverberation base, and then the guys who man the trenches. Nice. Good work. So it's I need to find a 6 mil guy with like a sword so that you need actually what you need is about an 8mm samurai. There you go. Yeah. Oh yeah, I meant to show these off too. I finished these a while back for that Zimmerman Telegram game. Oh, nice. Oh, those are beautiful. One of them is pretty basic. Kind of like, oh yeah, this was government procured, and then the other one is kind of a converted civilian model that was had some chrome on it, and pretty cool. These are the Mexican heavy support for that game, and while the U.S. have a a Lancaster armored car that they borrowed from the Johnny Boys.
Nice.
I was looking at pictures, dude. The markings on these things suck. Like they look like they were applied by drunk toddlers.
Yeah.
But
Probably were.
Here's the Mexican aircraft that will be a support aircraft, which is a cool little 1911, some kind of French plane.
So I'm wondering, and you probably don't know, I'm wondering if that's the style engine where the entire rotary, instead of the pistons,
Yes, I believe it's everything moves.
Yeah. The first time I saw that, I was like,
it's got clearance on it, like everything moves.
Yeah.
It would make sense that it is. But then I've got a Curtis Jenny over here to fill in for the Americans as well. So
there you go.
So that's. I was trying to think of, oh crap, what have I been doing for the last week? And I was like, oh yeah, I worked 7 straight days.
Yeah.
But I finished off the command for each of the sides for this Zimmerman telegram thing too. So I actually have a completed collection. So that's all the models in this line that I own.
Nice.
Now done. I'm proud of myself.
That's done. I've got 3 things here to show if you're.
Yeah, let me bat you back over. Hold on.
Over to John with his in focus camera and stuff.
Hopefully.
Maybe.
All right. It's all you.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
So these were some resin things that I've got. Oops, from again, I just backed someone on Patreon who did them. Come on, back in the focus. Yeah.
I like them.
And none with the gun.
Annie Oakley there and Uncle
Festus.
Festus.
Kind of. Yeah. And then just Prospector Ed. They're part of my Fistful of Lead posse.
Nice.
And also I did it because, quite frankly, I did it because it made me laugh. And I found a 3D print online, and it was a pain in the butt to print. I've got a sheriff.
There you go.
Come on, focus, you on you. Curses.
Oh, you're good. That's awesome.
There we go.
Nice.
Speaking of not violating trademarks, yes, you have a sheriff.
Yeah. Well, I had a sheriff.
Somebody put a snake in my boot.
It was absolutely. Someone poisoned the water hole.
Yeah.
But so those 4 were part of my posse, my Fistful of Lead posse, along with a couple of banditos. Yeah, I had Juan More Time was my Mexican leader.
One more time.
Nice.
Juan, yeah. Well, there's a whole story about his name's. I'm just going to look it up now. I've made a whole thing about it, about his full name, which I've completely. It was just a terrible pun, and I thought, why not?
Hey, I like
no. That is a fantastic pun.
Oh, it gets better. Oh,
now see if you have if you ever make a fat Mexican miniature, his name can be Juan Tanamano.
Ah.
I thought you were going to call him Brian.
Hey now.
I'm just kidding.
Okay, so his full name is Inigo Torino Montoya Esteban Juan More Time, but his father was also called Juan, so he was known as Baby Juan, because Inigo Torino Montoya Esteban takes too long, so he's just used initials, so he's just me, Baby Juan More Time.
Wow! Holy!
Oh yeah,
that is goddamn fantastic.
I love it.
Joe, tell me what I come up with that one. I'm pleased I got there in the end. But yeah, he's the leader of my Mexican bandits.
Oh man,
you should be quite proud of that.
That's amazing. That's you need to share that with Jay Wiley on the Wiley Facebook group.
He would fucking lose it. He loves names like that.
I don't think I'm on his group. What's the
what? Can fix that.
Is it just Wiley Games? Is it?
I think so. Yeah.
Well, I might be actually. I have played the game with him, of course. We did Galactic Heroes game, didn't we?
Yeah. Yesterday, McMurray, Jay and my nephew, the junior wargamer, and I went to Jefferson Barracks.
Yeah, I saw that.
And went to the Museum, Missouri Civil War Museum. And I gotta say, it's small, but it's focused and does a great job of showing how Missouri was affected and was an effect uh, to the Civil War in general. And the one thing that I thought was very interesting is that they did not shy away from the fact that the reason the Civil War happened was due to slavery.
Yeah. The curator of the Jefferson Barracks Memorial Park or Military Park is actually he's a wargaming friend of mine. He's a good dude.
Cool.
Tom,
Cool.
if you're watching, you're doing good stuff. There's a solid. I really liked your museum. Yeah. Yep. He's a good dude. One of the coolest Indian mutiny black powder armies I've ever seen. Huge. It's
Cool.
wild.
Cool. Also found out that the conservation group that's behind the museum is currently rebuilding a mansion in Louisiana, Missouri that burned down a couple of years, or not burned down, but caught fire a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And the reason they got involved with it is it was owned by none other than the senator from Missouri who wrote the Emancipation, or not the Emancipation Proclamation, wrote the 13th Amendment.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's gonna bug me, but it's not on top of my head.
Yeah. But the fact that the guy who wrote the 13th Amendment lived in Louisiana, Missouri, and I don't think anybody around here knows that.
Yeah, Louisiana. It's Louisiana, Missouri, but yeah. Just like Nevada.
Yeah. Let's not get started.
But
yeah, that was a fun time. We need to go back and get the other museums that are there on Jefferson Barracks, like the Ordnance Museum.
Yep.
Got a pair of 16-inch shells.
Yep.
Sitting out front.
Yeah. There's some cool stuff at JB.
Yeah. So and the fact that of at least 200 different generals that fought during the Civil War on both sides were stationed at Jefferson Barracks at some point in time in their career.
Oh, it was a huge installation. It was the largest armory west of the Mississippi. It was, I think, the second or third largest armory in the U.S.
Yeah.
It was a huge installation between there and the arsenal downtown.
Yeah. And it was, it wasn't just from back in the Civil War days. I mean, it was important all the way through World War II.
Yeah. It was the primary induction center for like the entire Midwest.
Yeah.
And
the fact that it's just, again, it's for whatever reason, just unknown.
I was about to say, that's another one. JB's been around for a long time.
1826 is when it opened.
Yep. It's not one of the recent large, push for expansion of military stuff, post-war or, during World War I or II. It predates the Civil War. It
predates the Black Hawk War.
It does. It's an old installation. But no, there's a lot of really cool Civil War history in Missouri and St. Louis, just by itself.
Yeah.
Once you branch out into the rest of the state. But did you guys go to the Siegel Memorial downtown?
No, we didn't.
Okay. No. It's one of those cool things that a lot of people don't even realize what it is they pull past it because it's within an exit off of 40.
Yeah.
To go downtown. I think it's the Jefferson exit. Just a hill with an obelisk on.
Yeah. What was it? About Jefferson Barracks. Oh, no, not Jefferson Barracks, but Missouri in general. I didn't realize how many damn battles were in Missouri for the Civil War.
Oh, yeah. People were, like
in 1861, there was like 261.
Yeah. I mean, people have been fighting the Civil War in Missouri since far before the Civil War started.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But
I mean, it was
from
basically just
1861 to 1865, there was over 500 battles.
about the only time that people weren't actively fighting in Missouri was when the Confederacy had been pushed out for a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if people were here, they're fighting.
Yeah, that's one thing I can say they like to do in Missouri.
Yeah.
Kick ass and take names, or
Yeah.
kick names and take ass. I'm not quite sure which.
Yeah, either one. But no, it's a really cool the role of German immigrants in the Civil War in Missouri, and particularly coming out of St. Louis, is pretty wild, pretty astounding.
Yeah.
Everybody hears about, the Irish Brigade and all that stuff, but you've got just an obnoxious number of German immigrants volunteering before the U.S. regular army could mobilize to get to Missouri.
Yeah.
To honestly prevent the forces of the Confederacy and the Missouri State Guard under the Confederacy from taking the arsenal at the Camp Jackson affair really early in 1861.
Yeah.
And it's cool. It's interesting to read about it. It's not something that you read about a lot. It's not something you see about a lot. But yeah, between like 4 years of constant warfare and a really diverse selection of it. And yeah, no, that's the funny part, right? You're exactly right. People in Missouri weren't shy about it at all, because again, that's what the Missouri-Kansas border war was about. And that's, the other weird thing that people don't realize about Missouri is the southern end of Missouri was the abolitionist stronghold in Missouri. It was northern Missouri that was known as Little Dixie, where you get, Claiborne, Fox Jackson, and Sterling Price and everybody else coming out of. And then once you get down to places like, Wilson's Creek, which is where everybody would expect, oh, okay, now you're in Confederate territory. No. The citizens around Wilson's Creek were feeding Seigel and what's his name? Oh, Jesus, that's going to bug me. Nathaniel Lyons. Information on Confederate movements, which is how they managed to semi-surprise, or at least attempt to surprise, a Confederate force like twice their size at Wilson's Creek. So I mean, the Civil War in Missouri is super cool, and there's easily playable scenarios from little stuff all the way up to big stuff.
And so I spent 2 years of high school in Missouri.
Uh-huh.
And none of this was ever mentioned.
Yeah.
It's a travesty.
We didn't get much of the Civil War almost at all in high school.
Yeah, it's in my opinion, it's a travesty.
Yeah,
because there is so much history that is being left on the table. I go on and on and on about being from Texas and et cetera and so forth, and it gets on people's nerves. Yeah, I don't care. It's my show. But the entire, I think it's 8th grade now, that entire year for social studies is Texas history. You learn about, people talk about how proud Texans are of Texas. That's why, because we know our history. We're taught about our history. People from Missouri would be more proud to say, yeah, I'm from Missouri, if they knew their history.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Missouri's a pretty cool place.
It is. It took me a while, and at first was reluctant, but I will gladly say Missouri is my second home state.
Yeah, Doug, Missouri is awesome.
So, it's got to be my second home state, because
God knows you're not going to take Illinois.
13. Oh God, no. Why do you think I live as close to Missouri now as I can?
Yeah, exactly. God knows you're not going to claim Illinois, man. Yikes.
But it was just a fun trip. Going forward, my brother, my nephew, and I are going to have a monthly, as good as much as possible over the wintertime. It'll be dependent on weather, of course, but we are going to have a monthly broad trip.
There you go.
Where the bros get together and go on a road trip. So we've been on two now so far. Uh, October was a trip to Hannibal, Missouri, to go to the Mark Twain Caverns. That was a pretty cool trip. And then yesterday down to Jefferson Barracks, and we're gonna have to do a part two because there's a lot we didn't go see. Because we also went to the mini con there in Miniature Mart.
Yeah.
On Manchester.
Command Con? Yep.
Yeah, Command Con Mini. And then we also went out and took a look at Tim's new place.
Yeah.
So bought a couple of comics myself. Picked up the full series of the mid 80s comic book version of Team Yankee. And then a 4-book series called Swords of Texas, which apparently is a post-apocalyptic story in South Texas that I'm hoping, if I'm looking at it right, might generate some pretty cool Wasteland Warriors scenarios.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's really weird. So far, the governor of the Mexican state just south of Texas is Japanese, and being supported by the communists from the Soviet Union.
Wait, do you mean like in this book or in real life?
Yeah, no, in this book.
Oh, like Japanese dude. All right, whatever, man. Who knows?
Yeah,
I got all the Toyota plant down there. They got the big ass Toyota plant down there. Maybe it is a Japanese dude that's the governor. Who knows?
Well, the Toyota plant's in San Antonio, but might as well be Mexico, right?
I mean, who's working there?
You're not wrong.
So I started on these goofy ass looking little goblins.
Yeah.
And I've got these halflings wearing oversized armor with pots on their heads.
Nice.
And the musketeers have colanders on their heads.
So, okay. This show is the Wednesday that I'm in Disney. Next, the show before it, which is this coming Wednesday for us now, is going to be with John from Joy of Wargaming. Yeah, are you going to be able to be there on that one, McMurray?
I need to figure out going into work late because I do not intend to miss any of that show.
Okay.
What time is that going to happen?
It's going to be the standard 8:30 to 10:30.
Okay.
So I think the next show that I've got to get set up is going to be the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. Are you working that one?
I don't know. Literally the day before Thanksgiving?
Yes.
Yes.
You are? Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the next Wednesday that you're not working, that you're going to be on with us, I think that's going to be a good What's McMurray Got?
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. Every couple of months or so, I think a good What the Hell's McMurray Got episode to be had. So be on the lookout for that, boys and girls. Also remember that I'm sure most of the folks that are watching this already have subscribed and hit the little ding dong bell thingy to be told when stuff happens here. But I am adding actual recorded material, actual, not live show stuff. So far, I've been able to do it. It's by the time you see this, I'll have had
3 or 4, right? Or 3?
Well, 5. I'll have 5 episodes, or 5 not episodes, but 5 videos dropped by then. But I'm working to keep it going every Monday morning and Friday morning at 8 a.m. Central Time. A new video coming out. So right now we've been looking at my Star Wars cruise for Fistful of Lead Galactic Heroes Star Wars. We're going to continue to, run down that path for a while. I've got some other pretty interesting ideas of some other videos to do. So yeah, definitely hit the bell to be notified when I do get a new episode out. So far I've done pretty good. My first 2, I've got 68 views on the Han Solo crew, and I've got 38 views on my Scout Troopers.
There you go.
And we've got 72 subscribers now.
All right, there you go.
So tell your friends, tell your relatives. If
Mr.
you want,
Harrington, do you have a YouTube channel?
No, well, I do, but not much on it.
Well, what is it?
Well, it's John Harrington, strange enough. There's
You're
a
number
couple
one, buddy. You're number one.
I'm not a huge social media person, but yeah, I can look it up and I can send Chris a link to put on if he wants to. There's a couple of Sarissa buildings on there and a few bits of Cruel Sea stuff, but not much more than that.
Hey, whatever works, right? So
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of John Harrington that's not spelled the same playing guitar.
No, that's not. Well, I can just about play the guitar. So I certainly wouldn't put it on. Certainly wouldn't put me doing it on YouTube. I can tell you that.
There you go.
All right, boys. Well, again, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up for now. Thanks for joining us tonight. It's still afternoon here. It's actually legitimately evening over in the UK for John at this point.
It is, yeah.
So thanks for joining us. I hope y'all liked the show. Sorry we weren't here live to interact with you. I am going to set this up as a premiere. So not that y'all would hear this before it happened, but I am going to set it up as a premiere. So if anybody wants to join and watch it as it goes live on that Wednesday at 8:30 and chat with the group that comes to watch, you're more than welcome to. I'm probably either going to be eating dinner or wrapping up my day at Wednesday is going to be our first day in the parks. So we're going to be getting home from the Magic Kingdom at this point. So anyway, everybody take care. We will see you the following week, which will be the day before Thanksgiving. We'll figure out something to talk about. Until next time, we'll see you on the flip side.
Cheers.